Muted. Unmuted. Muted.
From last class, we understood what is HANA and why is it so fast and HANA, what engines does it have and how does it execute the queries. And then we're trying to now see, you won't have your HANA server and you're going to work from the so from the client, what do? You install client software and then get connected to server and start working on it. And every transaction you do, it sends a request to server, and then server will process the request and sends the response back to the client. Normal client server architecture. So if you see this, let's say you have an HANA server, yeah, or HANA box. Let's say this HANA box or HANA server, yeah. And normally when you install HANA, it is installed in SUSE Linux.
Unmuted. Muted.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay. So I've got HANA box, which is HANA server. And for the OS, what we use is SUSE Linux. Let's say on the SUSE Linux OS, we have installed the HANA database here. Now, when you want to start working on it, what we do is let's say you sit on the client system, right? And from the client, this is a server box, and from the client system, you start working on it. But the client could be on Windows also. Like we can install the client software on Windows, and you get connected to the database and start working on it. And the client software what we use is HANA Studio. You basically the client system, which is Windows box, you will install HANA Studio, and then you get connected to the HANA box or your HANA server. And then, can you please connect back? Okay, see, you'll have a client system running on Windows where you basically install this client software as HANA Studio, and you'll have a SUSE Linux as a OS where your HANA box is installed. And then client software, you start getting connected to the HANA server, and you start working on it. Once we have the HANA Studio, we can get connected to areas. This is like UI, GUI. Now this is how you get it. Let's say if you would start, if I already installed it, so programs, if you get SAP HANA, then you see this SAP. Yeah, you just click this and thus open up the tool. Okay. So if you look at this tool, it is more of an Eclipse-based tool. Normally for Java developers, they use this kind of tool generally, and they've used the same open source Eclipse-based, and they've developed this front-end tool for HANA develop as a studio, which we refer to as HANA Studio. The major point here, first thing is, see, there's something called what is open prospect. Just click on this. It does list your lots of perspectives here. Now within single HANA Studio tool, you would have lot of perspectives. So what is all about? Say from HANA getting connected to HANA database, let's say you want to do some HANA modeling, yeah, then you have different perspective. So you want to do HANA administration or taking a backup or recovery, all those, again HANA Studio. So for a person who's working on BW on HANA, again it's HANA Studio. For a person who's working on ABAP on HANA, again it's HANA. So for a person who's working on HANA native dollar studios, person who's working on HANA database, again it's HANA Studio. So there are no multiple tools for each of them. It's like single tool which is used by everyone. Say BW developer would use this, ABAP developer would use this, HANA modeler would use this, HANA native developer, everyone would use the same. So what is done is, instead of doing it, when he gives it, you want to separate perspectives for each of them. You didn't want to confuse the screens, so there will be perspective for BW modeling. When I say each perspective would have a different view of the screen. If I log into BW modeling perspective, I would have more view with respect to the BW. If I get connected to perspective HANA modeler, I would have more the graphical screens more relevant for HANA native modeling. If I get into HANA native development, it does give you screens more relevant for HANA native development. Atla. Edan kadam different set of screens unda. That's fine. And each dialog box is referred as views. Say for example, I have BW modeling tools. If I just select this, so this will be perspective which will be, you really want to work on BW specific modeling on HANA. So then you basically get connected. This is like a project. You log in. See, there's already a project, okay, but this is adapting. If you get into the info pros, you start seeing info areas. You can see all these objects. This is BW specific perspective. And if I say, now this is only showing me, if I say reset perspective, it does show me all the relevant screens. See the properties window, like each block is like one view. So every perspective would have set of views, like set of screens. And let's say let's say I want to do some other, I just get into that. Now let me connect to, so you can create projects here, ABAP project or whatever. Now this is already a ABAP project, $TMP, else window, reset perspective. So I have some classes, let's say, and I will see the class. See, when I get into ABAP perspective, does it have its own screens? This is more relevant for ABAP development. So that is called as ABAP perspective. Okay. Now, you can have, so this is like ABAP program where we include sequence scripting. We call it as ABAP managed database process. We'll see that. That's it. Now, let's say I would like to work on HANA modeling. Then I would do you can choose it here, or if I have it already here, just close it. Yeah. So you just click this, and you want to get into what? Say HANA modeler. Just click on this. So this is the view for HANA modeler. This is a different view. So you got systems view, various lists, problems, job logs, quick view. These are different set of screens for HANA model. Again, if I go to choosing HANA native development, I can choose it from there. Yeah? Now this is HANA native development. So you go for developing lots of HANA native data services, jobs, or database from here, SAP UFI applications. This will be more, I'll say, reset perspective. So these screens will be more relevant for development. Okay, separate screens. Now let's say I get into console from here. See, if I want to see the administration, log on, and then you see this. What is for administration? Just get this. That is where they try to see different servers and look at this. If you get into this, overview. Here you see how much of memory is been total memory is so and so, and how much is being used, how much is a peak, and what was maximum memory being used. You can see this, and you can see this version of this HANA server. It's like 96 is the division. And see, this is the OS what is been running on Enterprise SUSE Linux. And the system. Don't worry. Now, landscape. I can see different. You remember other day when I was explaining about HANA single node or multi-node architecture, I was telling you this got index server, name server. Look at this. It got all this. It got index server, name server, pre-process server, SAP start SRV, script server, access engine. I've installed DP server also to enable data provisioning, daemon, and then what is this? Compile server. But major server would be the daemon one, because when you start the server, first daemon starts up, and daemon will take care about starting all other servers, all other instances. So do you have access engine, which will enable you for what? Deploying your applications on top of HANA also. Hmm. And there will be lots of stuff we'll see slowly. But, there's one more important one you can look at, system information. I want to see lots of information on the systems here. If you get into this, I can use this. Used memory by tables. If I just double click on this, it is like a report running. Like total column stores are using 5,721 MB, and then row stores has been using so much. Again, it's more like a report you're running and say, I want to see total cache entries or database information. This is system ID, this is a database name, this is a host name, this is a versioning, and this usage, custom usage. Basically, this is like administration where you can deal with. Like this, you would have different perspectives. And there's some like plan visualization. There's a perspective called plan visual. Hmm. So, for example, you configured an HANA model, let's say calculation. I would like to execute this and see at each step how much time does it take, like performance analysis or debugging of the views. All this can be done in plan visualization site. Okay? Yeah. So there'll be lots of perspectives what you, and then you'll have perspective called debug. Let's say you written some stored procedure and you would like to debug that stored procedure, then you would go about using debug perspective. Okay, then go to the purpose mode. And each perspective would have its own set of screens or views, what we call it. Yeah? With, now to close this out. And I would like, now I've selected what? Modeler bus. I've selected modeler and this is the screen. This is the default screen. Now when you get into modeler, you see a screen. What is it? Systems, various list, properties, and then job log, history, progress, and then you see something quick view. In the older versions, you would see it as quick launch. You should see a screen here as what? Quick launch. Okay? Now look at this. It is in the systems menu. You add a system when you want to get connected to some server. Now I already have my server. So this is my client system I made, and I would connect it to my server. So what I'll do? So right click on this and say what? In this is what systems view. Yeah? I would right click on this and say what? Add system. And my host name is SAP Cubex is my server. And my instance is 01. See, 01 is my instance. Yeah? Generally it is 00, but for me it is 01 here. And some descriptions. Yeah? Connect to server something. Yeah? So next does ask me the credentials. Already. Yes. you see, you can also organize your connections by using some folders and then organize them. Just creating it. X 01 and then this is the user login I have got. And that's now you see this green light indicating that all the services of your server are up and you got connected. This is the system. Like this, once you have your HANA Studio, you can get connected to n number of servers. No issues. The development, quality, production, everything. And once the system is connected, and for every system it's connected, you get to see this. You see 4 folders here: catalog, content, provisioning, and security. And basically, when they right click on the system, there were lots of options like backup, recovery. That's all admin. You don't have to worry on those. Yeah. You see, basically, you see 4 folders: catalog, content, provisioning, and security. And catalog folder would have all the database artifacts. See, HANA is a database, right? Obviously, when you say database, you would see about table, storing data into those tables, views, all the database artifacts, all the database objects like schema, tables, views, procedures, everything would get into catalog. Look at this. When I expand catalog folder, look at this. I get to see lots of schemas here, right? And when I expand any of the schema, I would get to see some tables. I get to see lots of, these are like database tables, like, yeah. So they're like, oh, table, right click, say open content. This is able data. So there's some data in this table. I can see the content like that. If I go to views, these are like database views. Like normally in SC level, do you create the views? Yeah, this is like this. And we can open the content of the database views. There's no data, but so you can also create your triggers. We'll see that later. But you can have something like synonyms, like alias name for the tables. You can create something like sequences. You can create procedures, like you can write a stored procedures with some SQL script into it. We can create indexes to improve the performance of reading. You can have functions, column views. Generally, we don't create any column views. When you deploy your analytical model, let's say I'll show you something. It says bake and then column views. See, there are some column views here. And this is virtual again. When I try to see the content, they show me data. So actually, these column views are deployed when you activate your model. Like you go about creating attribute view, analytical view, calculation views. When you activate them, it will be creating this catalog column views. Yeah? In the sysbig schema by default. This is a sysbig schema. Yeah. Like this, you would have schema where it organizes all your database. Like any database does the same. Yeah. Good. The point here is you have main schema as this sys. So there are some ready-made schemas built in by the system. When you install HANA database, by default you get them as sys schema is what major one, and which does hold all system relevant tables into it. If I expand the schema, if I expand the tables, these are all the system relevant tables here. In sys schema, you'll find all the repository tables. These are the tables where it does hold all the metadata into. Like say, I would like to have a table with all, which knows list of all the tables, list of all the columns of a table. Yeah. So these tables are not comfortable to understand. So what SAP has done is, on top of this table, they have given some ready-made views also to make it more clear. M1_C. So there's a table called M_CS underscore all. It's a view. You can see the content which will show me in a server, in a particular schema, in a table, what all columns do we have. Yeah. So like this, you can have different set of tables into it. Yeah? So the same underscore CS underscore tables will show me information about every table. If I go, how much memory has been allocated, whether it has been loaded into main memory or not, whether it is unloaded from main memory. All those internal system data or system configuration data can be seen into this table, in the views here. That is sysbig schema. And there are two other schemas which are really important, which we use. One is sysbig and sysbi. Sysbig and sysbi, because see, you go about creating your HANA models. Whenever these HANA models are deployed or when you activate them, it does create column views in sysbig schema. Whenever you deploy any analytical view, any attribute view, any calculation view, it does deploy column views in sysbig schema. That is important. And all the time relevant standard tables of SAP, which holds calendar year data or fiscal year data, is all in sysbi. What is it? Sysbi. If you expand this, you would see the tables. Look at this, you see M underscore time underscore dimension, month wise, year, and the fiscal year. So these are the major tables which will store all your calendar year or fiscal year specific data into this. And like when you want to use some time dimension in analyzing your KPIs, you would leverage that into the analysis. So, and later when you install some of the packages like XS or TAS or so, this come in when you basically install some of the extra add-ins like sys REPL, like say when you configure SLT, you get the sys replication schema. When you configure XS applications, you get this. Okay, this is demo schema. But if you see, most of the SAP standard ones starts with sys. That's why you are not allowed to create any of the database objects starting with sys or underscore sys. It doesn't allow. That's the naming for standard objects. That's how it is. Then you will have something like content folder. In the content folder, it does organize all your HANA modeling objects. HANA modeling content is organized under this. For example, see basic funda in this, you bring data from different HANA objects and store into, different sources store into HANA tables. Yeah, Virat, I'll discuss on that, don't worry. I'll discuss it. You bring those data into those tables. On top of those tables, you build the HANA models. You do slice and dice on the tables and create HANA models and export it for reporting. When you store data in the tables are cannot be readily consumable by the users because you need a lot of transformations on top of the table. So you do slicing and dicing of this. Let's say there might be a table with 100 columns, there might be another table with 5 columns, but my business user wants to view 5 columns from table 1 and 2 columns from table 2 and then combine both of them, get me the view. But user can't go searching both the tables. So what you do by using HANA modeling, you go about creating analytical view or attribute view or calculation. You remove the remaining columns, just get the 5 columns from table 1, get the 2 columns from table 2, then you perform a join or union and then do all those stuff and then project the 7 columns of the view what the user wants. That's the tables on the Vishnasaran JCC, you do slicing and dicing and then you add new column, you remove some columns, you do all those stuff and then project the view what my business user wants. And this view can be used for reporting. Do you understand what you're doing in modeling? As it is, the database tables cannot be leveraged for reporting. So, and it's not satisfying your business requirements. Then what on top of those tables, you build a semantic layer like by using the modeling content, using attribute views, analytical views, or calculation views, and expose these views. So these views will be considering tables and then project the view what my business user wants. You might derive a new column what is not there in the table. For example, table is your price quantity, and then you say you do column seeing price in the quantity. So those columns you can add new columns, remove columns, then modify columns. You can do anything stuff, and then project the view what my business user wants. And these views can be exposed for reporting. We call it models. So we'll have 3 different types like calculation view, attribute view, and analytical views. So all this HANA modeling content is organized into content folder by packages first. In BW, do you create info area and then go creating info product? Same way, here we create a package. Under package, you organize all your HANA models. We call those HANA models. Okay. So expand content. You get to see all the packages here. So okay. You get all the packages. So I have a package called Cubex package. This is like a package, like a folder. Nothing, just like a folder to organize your objects. Now under this again I got subfolders like I want models, joins, and then smart data integration. I want to get into models. Now if in the models I can see what is this? Attribute views, analytical views, calculation views, privileges, and what is this? When you basically right click on a package, you get all these options. Look at this. You can create attribute view, go to create analytical view, calculation view, privileges, procedures, and what? Decision tables. So basically, these are all like HANA models. Attribute view is completely graphical. Analytical view is also graphical. But when it comes to calculation, you can have graphical mode and SQL script based also. Analytical privilege is like your analysis operations in BW. And the procedure is like you use SQL script and do all the data customizations. And then decision table is like you can do for what if analysis, you can use it, or for updating data into the data. You know how to write an update statement into the tables. When you want to write series of update statements, you can use decision tables also. Like update means modifying in data in the database tables. So all this can like you can see this. This is like attribute view, which is giving me some business partner data or something. This is the view what they've modeled, and if you see this, so they basically have some two tables. They just joined in, and then they're just trying to provide some data for them. You can see the content from the raw data. This is the data for some business partner, some customer data. This is like a view. Like that's an attribute view. If you get into analytical view, it looks like this. So you'll have some data foundation. We have got lots of tables. I can zoom down. So we use so many tables and then formulated joins, and then so you see lots of. I can close the screen, but I just wanted to see all the screens first. Then I can close it. So I've used so many tables, then joined them. Then select projected columns from each of the tables, then derive some new columns and then projecting it. Just doing slicing and dicing on the table. And then here you specify what all columns you want in the table. Then you have some properties, and then you control some. You also have something like concept like variables or input parameters. So I want tax percentage. I want to choose some like making parameterizing your views here. I can make it dynamic, and then you can have this CKF like tax amount calculation will be made dynamic in that. So you can basically go about doing this, or you can also look at some calculation. How does it look like? It's more of a you can just build in like layers of logic on this, like using projection, ranking, all this. You can build your views, and then these are the colors projected out. Then you can just try to see the content. This is like one of the calculation views what we have, and the calculation view is the one for focus, because whatever you can do with attribute view or analytical view, I can still get that done with what? Calculation. So calculation view is a focus, and even if you see HANA live content, which is the ready-made calculation which is delivered by SAP, it all contains calculations. Okay? Let's check it. And then same way privileges or decision, we'll see that. But this is how it looks like in the content. In form of packages, you organize all your HANA content models. Yeah? Then there's something called provisioning port. This is majorly responsible for smart data access. They call it as SDA. Yeah. By using this smart data access, I think I need to switch on the data provision. That is switched off, but One second. Let me just, because if that is down, this will not work. Okay. The problem, but that's okay. See, by using this provisioning, we'll have we configure SDS, Smart Data Access, which is like a virtual remote access to the different databases or different applications. For example, work, but one thing I can show you. Let's nothing works. Okay. There's some connection to a different HANA database. If you expand this, I get to see all the schemas. And then let's say this is like remote scheme in the very HANA database. So from my HANA, I'm just remotely connecting to different HANA database and consuming all those tables. What is it? You say add as virtual tables. This is like remote access. Getting this? Through smart data access, you connect to remote database like SQL Server or Oracle or HANA, anything, and then consume those database objects into my HANA as virtual tables. It is more than a real time. So the table itself is replicated into HANA automatically as virtual table. Any new postings into the table is automatically reflected into my table automatically. So that can be done with smart data access here. The concept. See, if you create, now I can't activate it, but new, if you create remote source, you can have remote sources with all these adapters. It could be flat files, HANA, you can connect to an HANA adapter, or you can connect to an SAP ECC, which is running on MS SQL. I can connect to MaxDB, DB2, Hadoop, generic. You have lots of options. All these sources is about connecting through remotely. Let's say I've got ECC, which is running on MS SQL. I can connect that remotely to my HANA database as through SDA, smart data. Very, very important topic. You see that. That's it. We start adding that as virtual table and then leverage it for the views. And then when you're actually, so it's almost like referring to the table remotely from the database. This will be majorly suitable in case where you deal with ECC with HANA and BW with HANA. Then it really makes sense. Your ECC is also powered by HANA and BW is also powered by HANA, and then I can refer to the HANA remotely. That makes sense. But sitting on HANA, accessing remotely from SQL Server does not make, because obviously the performance will be down. And if both are HANA systems, then makes sense for remote access. Then under security, you would see users and roles, where you can see all the user definitions. You can get into the user. You can specify what roles or what privileges have been. You'll have different type of privileges like system privileges, object. When you say object, catalog object. Which catalog object does you have? Like schema, table, view, which catalog objects is got. Until privilege, I told you, it's like more like analysis, authorizations, what you can do. These are like roles if you already created. Some application privileges or system privileges, like you can do some so and so. System level authorizations you want to control. Like say you can take a backup or not. Privileges for content, maintaining content of the server or not. Only privileges like user, and same thing you can create your own roles also. And role will have all the. It could be a role within a role or privileges again. Basically, it is like privileges. You create roles, and roles are assigned to users. or privileges also can be assigned to users directly. So under the security folder, you'll have all the users and the roles in there. So this is how it categorizes the system connection into. Okay. Mm. The major important thing is this. If you see this quick view is like frequently used links is, and then you can just click in and jump to that aspect. For example, I would like to import some data from ECC to HANA. So we call it as data provisioning. Let's say I would like to do through SL tables. Yeah. Make sure my one second. Let me just check this. Okay. Let's say they were asking about how do we bring data from ECC. There are a couple of data processing techniques we can do that with BODS or SLT or DXLs. One of the data processing is like SLTs. See from the clip view, you have all the frequently used links or active operations. And then let's say I want to do some provisioning to SLT, I can just do it like provisioning, connect the system and say finish. Yeah, and then let's say I'll just close this out. Let's say you would like to add some table, you would like to replicate some tables. Yeah. So you have different options like load, replicate, stuff. But I don't replicate because it will put pressure on this is ECC, VB, UK. I just want to load this table. Sales document, address state. Just click on this and just. You can set this for automated refresh. I can check this in the ECC. I just, sorry. VBAK is not added. LTR is for configuring SLT. LTRC is for monitoring SLT. It's not coming, but that's it. You just will see when this topic comes. I'll set that up and keep it running. Because if it runs continuously, the servers will be down. So we will switch off it. When it wants, we will activate it. So when you do this, it starts replicating the data. For example, now these tables have been VBAK was replicated. You can see this data in SLT schema. This is my schema, right? SLT and tables. And let's say, look at this VBAK table. Just got it. And all this data was replicated from ECC. Like this, any table you want, just say replicate, give specific table and start refreshing. You don't have to do anything. The system will create the replication of the same data into your HANA data. We'll see that later, but this is how like you can access it. You I want to click view again. So help click view. This is what. And you can do lots of like delivery rates, generating time data, importing. They'll frequently performed operations is what you give it as quick. Like we use delivery units for transporting. Say you want to transport the HANA content from one development server to quality server or to production. Then what you organize all your HANA content in packages, right? You assign the package to delivery unit, and then you assign the delivery unit to a transport route and release it, the transport route to the quality system or development. So we use those delivery units for transporting objects for transporting the HANA content from one HANA database to another HANA database. Like generating time. Let's say I told you in SIS BI there are some time relevant table for financial, fiscal year and calendar year. Those tables will be blank. And if you want to fill those data, if you want to generate data into those tables, we use this generate time data option. Let's import configure server. Let's say I have got HANA database. Let's say about ECS system. And what I want is I have got lots of database tables in ECC, and I would like to leverage BODS and import the metadata of my ECS system into HANA database. Can be done. Say I can choose VBAC, all those 10 to 20 tables. If I import through BODS, import the metadata, it does create those tables into HANA database. Not the data, only metadata. The definition of the tables can be brought in through configuring imports. So you will configure it, and then you will say import. So I've already configured something. You will configure what is the connection, what data, what is the BODS server name, what is the port, what is the repository, all those you will configure it, and then you will say import. And you want to import, it's a selective import of, you want to import metadata, then you will say from which system, then it starts telling you this is a connection, or this is the data store connection in BODS. So you want to replicate using table or what? Extra. When you say tables and say next, those tables metadata will be replicated into the HANA system. So import is not about importing. You can import any of the HANA content using delivery unit or from local file or from BW model. Let's say we have a BW info cube. I would like to import that as analytical view into HANA. I can just leverage this. And importing of catalog objects. Let's say you already have the database objects designed in HANA database. They create an export file and you want to import it. Then you can also import HANA catalog objects also. Same thing, what is exports, copying, validating, like activating view or redeploying that, creating auto documentation. Like we'll have some stuff like there is some like schema mapping, very, very important. In BW, do you do source system mapping? Remember? In BW, you cannot transport source systems. And so you go doing what? Source system mapping. So when the data source is transported to quality, it does replace with the new source system connection. Same way, here we cannot transport schema. So let's say in development, let's say my schema name is DEV schema. In quality database, I've got QTY schema. So in BW, I've created an HANA model by using a table of schema dev schema, because in the entire HANA models, always every database artifact is qualified by schema name. So when I look at this view definition, I'll have it like DEV schema dot table 1. That's the view definition. But when I transport this view to quality, in the quality, my table should be qualified with what? QTY schema. So in the quality system, I would do something called schema mapping where I say authoring schema is DEV schema and physical schema is QTY schema. So when I transport this view, it automatically replaces the table from DEV schema to what? QTY schema. So that kind of mapping can be done with schema mapping. Okay. So that's it. This is pretty much of the click view and space of perspective. And then you will have something like various list here. Say, for example, I open some content. So this is the analytical view, which is ZCV 2012. Now below it tells me in which view this view has been used again. Because once I create attribute view or analytical view, I can leverage them into calculation views. So if I open an analytical view, I can know through various lists, I can know in which all calculation views this has been used. Various lists normally. And any object you select, you basically see the properties window here. Now the properties of that object. And same way you'll have job log, history, and progress. Every operation you do, you get to see the timing, how much time it took, whether the status is still running or cancelled. History logs and the ones which are in progress. Okay. Hmm. You can customize your view how you want. You can just finish closing up all this, and I'm pretty happy with this view. This is how I want it. You can just close up the screens what you don't want, and you can customize your view what you want. This is like HANA model. SP9, yeah, 96 revision. Yeah. Okay. Now, if you get into HANA native development, so this will have a different set of views again. Systems view is common even for HANA native development. Then you'll have repositories and project explorer. Repository is like you create something like workspaces where, so you have, see, HANA native development always goes with Eclipse based check-in and check-out mechanism where you develop a local file and then you publish it into server bus. So what you do is first from the server space you create a mapping to a local folder. So the local folder will have equivalent folder in a server also. Then in the corresponding local folder you create a file, and then when you say check in, then this file will be saved on the folder what we have in the server bus. So creating a mapping between the server folder and the local system folder is what we call it as workspace. So we in the repositories we create the look at this, we create repository workspaces. And under these workspaces, you go over creating your HANA native development projects, which could have all this. So you go over creating what is, when I say project, what kind of project is this? Access project, because the project HANA native development is all referred with what? Access project. So you will learn about all this. How do you create UEFI survey, OData services or JavaScript? You can also create this attribute view or article view from HANA native development also. I can also create database from HANA native development. And there's some jobs or something. See, what is the difference? Let's say, see, there's something like .hdb table. So from HANA native development, I can create my database table also. From modeler also, I can create my database table. The major difference is what from the HANA native development is if it is HANA native, if it is modeler, if you create a table, you only see runtime object and only table can be seen. If it is HANA native development, let's say you in this file definition, you create some tables. Let's you create some, you said this is my table, this is the schema, table type, these are the columns what I want. HANA native, right? If you go to systems view, catalog, HANA native, do you see a table here? There, table, EMP. What is table? EMP DB was my table. If I just delete this table, yeah, is my table deleted? If I go to my project and if I just save it and if I activate this file again, see this table again. So basically, when you do some developments in HANA native development, you'll have design time object and runtime object. Runtime object is this table, and design time object is this file. So even if the runtime object is deleted, with the design time object, I can reactivate this to create the runtime object. Arthvendran. So like this, you can also do database development or application HANA native application development from HANA development. And then if you get into BW modeling, that's simple, so nothing to it. You have Project Explorer where you can refer to projects of BW. See, if you get in, you'll see it as what? What is it now? BW project. Yeah. Now, when I expand BW project, you get to see all the info providers, which is again info areas. You get to see all the different type of providers. You can double click and I can close this. This is like normal RSA one. You can also use, so you can close it. or you can open your GUI from here also. And then get into RSM. Same, we can start normally working. This is like your BW. We'll have Project Explorer. Under the project, you'll have all the info providers, and info is organized by info providers. You get to see it. And from here, you can go creating all this advanced DSO, composite provider, or open ODS views. And same thing, you'll have another perspective as ABAP. ABAP again, you'll have ABAP specific project. If you look at the project, it deals with what? ABAP project. And when you connect it, this was ABAP project, right? You can create any kind of object. Let's say others. See, BSP applications, dictionary, you want your data element, table, domain, log, others. If you get in, you can use this HANA transport container for transporting objects, collecting, let's say you create some ABAP program. I would like collect that in tier, transport request. So by using this container, I can put the ABAP, assign the container to transport request. Different ABAP data. So like this, you would have different perspectives in the system, and depending on the requirement, you start leveraging the perspective and start working. Yeah. What is it? So it's basically Eclipse-based environment, yeah? And you'll have different perspectives here: administration, developer, modeler, all this. Again, it's an one integrated development environment where you'll have one place where you can do entire developments, and then that's okay. You'll have catalog objects, repositories. You can connect the. See, look at this. Can you connect SAP, non-SAP through data provisioning? The smart data access is what data provisioning is what we call it as, and then you can expose them for reporting on the views, like systems view, and you'll have the catalog folder. You'll have schemas, all this, and the content folder you'll have what packages and views. And if it is another development, you see repositories views and what? But in the repositories, you go to workspaces, different type of HANA artifacts, the HANA development based artifacts. And these are like models, like you can see here, is open HANA model, where you will see the graphical modeling, and you have different screens, like where you can, it's more of graphical tuning, yeah. And you'll have perspectives. We discussed about this perspectives. A modeler perspective, development, debug, administration, yeah. Modeler perspective is okay. And look at this, we saw this something like quick view, but in older versions it is quick launch. But now it is quick view where the frequently used operations, not frequently, like more frequently used transactions or operations, it places the link and then it just click on the link and try to do that operation. And these are like calculation views, analytical views, attribute views. You can see you have column tables, attribute. On top of tables, you create attribute views. By using attribute views, I can create analytical views and then calculation views. And we can only do reporting with calculation view, analytical view. You can do reporting on tables also, but attribute views are not exposed for reporting. They're simple like master data was. Okay. That's okay. Attribute. What is attribute view? See, attribute is like, see, attribute view. It's all about view. Projecting the columns what my business user wants. If you're projecting the columns which represents master data, then it is attribute view. If you're projecting columns which represents a cube, a single fact table, would say analytical view. If you're projecting columns with more of complex calculations, logic, sequence input, then it is view calculation. And it says graphical editing of the views is more of graphical. All this we'll see that. That's it. This is HANA native framework. That's okay. Nothing else. And we've seen SLT. Let's say you clicked on data provisioning and add some schema, then you can start replicating tables. So we have in the quick view we have menu called data provisioning, which can help you to start the SLT, the replication of the tables. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. No, analytical view will not support multiple. He's asking, can I have multiple fact tables in analytical? No, it's only single fact table. When I say fact table, what does it mean? Keep table from where the measures have been referred. So there can be only one fact table. So if you really want to design a view with multiple fact tables, you have to get into calculation. That's okay, nothing much. And see, okay. Now he's asking about the see. For server access, you can contact this guy. His name is Vasu. 9700816312. And his name is Vasu. It's a good server he's got. And for study materials, if you ask me, there's nothing explicit notes I've prepared. There's nothing like that. But what are the presentation I am sharing with you? This one, I would share the same presentation to you. And for important topics which needs lot of navigation, where there's tendency that you forget steps, I would record them and give you, like say for SLT, for DXs, for DP data provisioning agents of smart data access, where it is more relevant to the steps, okay, then I would do this. But if it is more of logical hand, no recording for it. That should be, this deck should be helpful for it. If there is some topic which is more of fixed steps or navigations, I would do video recording and give you this. But if it's more of a view modeling or it's more of point wise or more of analysis, I would not give any videos on it. And for that, you will have the PDFs or PowerPoint presentations, what I'll say. If there's something important you feel, you can just make your note on the running notes. And I will give some notes, notepad files, what I use for SQL scripting or SQL. I would share those, like because I would write some scripting, right? So the same, I would share the notepad files. And any other doubt, you can ask me. Yeah, that's it. So this is about material bus. I'll just share the PowerPoint presentations and PDFs. And for the navigations which is involved in all those DXs or data processing techniques or some reporting, some key concepts, I'll do recordings. And something um, logical, I'll give you PDFs and this. Okay, was fine. Thanks. We'll meet tomorrow.